What's up, Street Thugs? Brigg here, and we have a fire tactical arrow blaster.
Oh no, she's right there! Oh,
So somebody had asked me to do a fire tactical arrow blaster, primarily for PVE. So I'm like, okay, that's a challenge. I'm going to see if I can do that. I have been working on this for about 5 days. I ended up making it on 3 different servers. One of the ones that, we must not mention, and I don't mean the secret server. Every different server had different power sets, or not different power sets, but it had different stats to it. They also had different enhancements. So I had to find even core enhancements to put in this build so it was even across the board for the most part. Let me preface this by saying I am not the best at making DPS characters. Everybody knows me for brutes and tanks and farming. I put a lot of time and effort in testing this out, and I came up with a pretty balanced, but I'm sure there's ways to improve this. I am not the best builder in the world. There's always someone better. So use this build as a guide to either inspire you or give you ideas, or maybe even a starting point. It's up to you. This is not like the go-to build, but I ended up coming up with something that I thought was halfway decent. So let's jump into this. So let's run through the fire powers for Fire Blast. I took Fire Blast, Fireball, Rain of Fire, Aim, Blaze, Blazing Bolt, and Inferno. Okay, and then for the tactical arrow set, I took Electrified Net Arrow, Glue Arrow, Upshot, Flash Arrow, Eagle Eye, Agility, and Gymnastics. And then for your extra pull sets, I took Speed for Hasten and Super Speed. I took Fighting for Boxing, Tough and Weave. For Leadership, I took Maneuvers. For Concealment, I took Stealth and Invisibility. And then for your Epic Pull Power, I took Flame Mastery for Bonfire and Fire Shield. Okay, so let's go over the stats real fast. Obviously, these are going to be different from server to server, but this is kind of what I got. I focus on melee and ranged, and I did get some AoE as well. So not up to cap, but pretty decent. So you'll probably want to run at least 1 purple at all times to kind of keep you pretty safe. If you're running in a task force, a healer will probably balance you out, so you wouldn't even have to worry about it, even a purple. So it's going to be pretty survivable in a group, I would imagine, really, especially if you have other people with maneuvers. You're really going to get a nice little boost. And then, of course, Smashing and Lethal. Not great on everything else. Smashing and Lethal is capped because I think at one point I had these all at 40%, and it was not good enough. Because even if I was fighting something that was, toxic or energy or psionic, I was obliterated. 40% was not enough. So you're going to have some weaknesses in here, but your Smashing and Lethal, which is the primary one, I think everybody would mainly agree, is capped. So you're good there. Regeneration is at 554%. Like I said, that's outstanding. Your recovery, only 8.45 per second. Typically with Ageless going, it's at about 12. Now, you're not using like 3 endurance per second like a lot of the builds. You're only using about 2. But you do have to be careful. You can run an endurance. Miscellaneous buffs will come over here. Haste, 307%. Now, granted, that is with force feedback going off. If I were to pull that proc out, that would drop way down. Damage is at 65%. That is not... None of these are even on with Aim and Upshot. Let's turn those on. Aim and Upshot. So now, haste is at 337%. Your damage is at 327%. We'll go ahead and turn those off though for now. So you get a lot of boost for damage in this build. So now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into this. For Fire Blast, I took Superior Defiant Barrage, and I took 2 of them. And there are a few powers that I took only 2 of them. These 2 powers. We have the Superior Defiant Barrage. All 6 are unique, so I took 2 in each power, mainly because it gives you a 4% damage boost just for those 2. So I took 2 there. Come here to Electrified Net Arrow. Again, Superior Defiant Barrage. Took 2 of those for the 4% damage boost. Glue Arrow, I took 5 of the Superior Frozen Blasts. You can go for the Transfer Immobilize if you wanted to. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Recharge obviously is great. and you're already working with immobilize. So it's not a bad idea to take that. I didn't take it here. It's your choice. I would probably recommend it. Jump back super speed. I did have one of the speed abilities in there. I ended up not needing it, so I just put an endurance reduction in it. Rain of Fire, I took Annihilations. Another one that I attempted to change out. I took this one mainly because the AoE defense boost to it. I tried to balance the AoE range and melee defense as much as possible. It was very difficult. I tried to lean more towards melee and ranged. I felt like I maybe should have changed this one out to something like that. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a melee or range buff in here for Rain of Fire that would have worked. So I went with Annihilation, which got your AoE defense. And that's the main reason I took it. Fireball, again, the 2 superior defiant barrages, and then I took Detonation, and that's just a little bit more smashing and lethal resistance. It just pushed me just over the edge because it was just under 75%, and this pushed me over top. Come over here to Upshot, 2 adjusted targeting, and that's primarily for the 2% damage boost. I just put Gaussian Synchronized Fire Control build up, the chance to build up over here in aim. Come over here to Boxing, I took Touch of Death. Now, I specifically took Boxing for this reason, because Touch of Death, all 6 of them give you 3.75% melee defense, and then also the nice big bonus to that is you got 2.5% damage boost, as well as a 3.75% smashing and lethal resistance, so that was great. Come down here to Flash Arrow, took the Siphon Insight, the chance for 2 hit. This is the accurate 2-hit debuff, just for an extra chance of 2 hit. Blaze, I took all 6 of the Superior Blaster's Wrath, and again 5% defense for ranged, big bonus, 10% recharge, obviously 4% damage, great, and then 15% accuracy and 10% range. This whole set is just gold. Come down here to Eagle Eye, I took all 6 of Numina's Convalescence, again 3.75% for ranged. I just bumped my mic, sorry about that. And then 3.75% smashing lethal, also a big bonus. And I do have 12% regeneration. This build has a lot of regeneration. It's not going to keep you alive if you're just getting beat up on. But once those attacks stop, it heals up really fast. I think it takes like 30 to 40 seconds to go from 0 to full health. Come down here to Tough. Gladiator's Armor for the 3% defense all. And then I took 4 of the Aegis. You don't have to take the Psionic. The status resistance is a bonus. Now come down here to Weave. This one I took 5 Luck of the Gamblers, primarily for the 3.75% for smashing and lethal. You do get regeneration, which is a bonus of course too. And of course your Luck of the Gambler global recharge. Blazing Bolt, I took Extreme Measures. I went back and forth on this power so much. I took Sting of the Manticore at first. I took Exploited Measures, I think. And then I went to this one because it had 2% damage. It also had a 2.5 for as AoE, and 2.5 for melee. And I felt like this was... Sting of the Manticore is an awesome. It had a lot of stuff I really liked in there, but I was really trying to focus more on melee and ranged over AoE. So this one ended up being the one that I liked the most, that I felt most comfortable with. Agility, just a speed. This one does boost your recharge too, so that's a really nice power. But you only have 2 options for it, which is flight and speed, running speed. So I took running speed. Hasten, I got 2 recharges in there. I did go back and forth on this one as well. At one point I even had 1 and put that somewhere else, 1 recharge, and then I ended up putting it right back. Come over here to Inferno. I took 5 of the Superior Avalanches. This is at a 29-second recharge. Originally it's almost 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes, so it's down to about 30 seconds. Bonfire, I took Fire Mastery for 2 reasons. One, Fire Shield gives you smashing and lethal and fire cold resistance, so bonus. But Bonfire is such a fun power once you get that knockdown resolved, or knockback into knockdown. So what I took here was a force feedback, chance for recharge, because this has a chance to, I think, twice in a minute. I think that's twice in a minute to have 100% recharge, which is fantastic. And then go over here to the next set, which is Overwhelming Force. These are a little trickier to get. If you run the blockbuster missions, you will get them. You can convert them. They are a little pricey on the auction houses. Some of the servers are really cheap, but most of them, they get a little pricey because they are a little more rare. You can't just get them from normal drops. But I took all but the damage endurance recharge. Obviously, this is where I get my knockdown or knockback to knockdown. I have mentioned this before. I am more favorable to overwhelming force other than sudden acceleration, I believe it is. I felt like this one works on the whole build, where sudden acceleration usually only works on one power. I don't know if that's the way they're designed, but I always felt like I got more out of the overwhelming force version. My opinion, not fact. I don't have a bunch of research to back it up. It's just what I experienced. You can do whatever you want to. But I also got 3% damage on this boost. So if you wanted to switch out for acceleration and still take the overwhelming force, you'll still have enough. You just need 3 at that point to get your 3% damage boost. If you want to do that, that's fine too. We'll come down here to gymnastics. I took Luck of the Gambler Global Recharge, as well as the shield wall for the 5% resist all. Come over here to Fire Shield. Here I have Steadfast Protection, which is the 3% defense. And then I have Unbreakable Guards. This one has 3.13 melee defense. I took 4 of them. Everything but the endurance recharge and max HP. If you wanted to go with max HP, that's up to you. It wasn't enough that I felt like I had to go for it. Because like I said, I was trying to max out my resistance to get that 75% resistance for smashing lethal capped off. And so I did go with resistance here. Come down here to maneuvers. Again, the same as we've, just 5 Luck of the Gamblers, global recharge, everything but the endurance recharge. In stealth I do have on right now. It obviously, the defense is going to be a little higher with it on when you're not fighting. The moment you start attacking, it drops down, but you still get some defense from it. And of course, I got the Luck of the Gambler in it, and invisibility, also the Luck of the Gambler global recharge. Over here in Brawl, I have 6 Makos, and that's for that 3.75% range defense. You also get the 3.75% for smashing, and you also get a 3% damage boost. So that one was a really nice one. And then for health, obviously I just put recovery. Stamina, I put just a endurance modification. By now you've probably seen my other videos, hopefully, and you know that I'm more partial to that than the Foreman Shifter proc. And then for the Incarnates, I took agility, and that's because recharge, and I needed the defense. I did go with musculature originally, but I felt that I needed more defense. I was struggling to stay alive when I was testing on the different servers, so I went with agility. And not only does it have the defense boost, but the boost, it also has that nice recharge. So if I can get Inferno to keep popping, that's even greater. Judgment, I took Ion, Reactive Core, or Reactive Radial Flawless for interface, and that makes all your powers have a 75% chance to have a fire damage over time, a dot. For assault, or for hybrid, I took assault, damage boost. For Destiny, I took Ageless. Obviously, you need that. You definitely need it on this build, because you will run out of endurance if you're not careful. So that's the Fire Tactical Blaster. Hopefully that gives you a guideline when you're creating your own. It is a little bit different of a build. Really neat build. I have been testing it out. As you can see, you'll notice that there are no purples in this build, so it's a lot cheaper than most of the other builds. I did have purples in there originally for the damage boost, the recovery boost, as well as the recharge boost, but I found that I was lacking in survivability completely. If you want to go glass cannon, you totally can. You can increase your recharge even faster. You can increase your damage output, but you are going to be literally a glass cannon. So I might put that build out there if you guys want to see that. Inferno is gnarly. You just obliterate entire mobs. Hopefully you guys will like that build. If you liked it, please remember to like the video. Of course, as always, please remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Why is that word so hard to say? Subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already, I think I'm talking too fast. It is free. It does help me out to bring more content to you. We do have a goal. When I say we, my wife and I, because we're both working on it. My brother-in-law too, he's been trying to help promote my channel as well. We have a goal of 1,000. We're trying to reach that within the next 2 weeks. So if you can help out, that's great. If you can share it with your friends, please do. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate all your support. I will see you again soon. Stay golden and take care. Bye-bye.